Are you ready?
As ready as I can be before I start choking to death.
Golly, Miss Molly, here we go. We aren't the greatest at following up on stuff that we've said in this podcast. A lot of times people hold our feet to the fire and we go, you're right. And then we just keep moving on with our life. But the Emmy Awards were last Sunday. And prior to the Emmy Awards, you and I chose who we think should have won. Now, I actually don't remember the categories. You have the list in front of you. But let's see how correct we were with our projections of the winners, okay? So what's the first one? I have a list here of the winners. I just don't remember who we voted on for the categories.
Okay, I would like to, for the listening and viewing audience, show my detailed notes, which may or may not be decipherable today, okay?
Which is great because she herself wrote them.
I did, so let's go.
Well, no. Tell me what categories we have. I don't even know what categories we used.
Oh.
Did you not write down categories?
Well, I think we started with actor.
Okay, Deb, there's a lot of actor categories. It's the Emmys.
So...
Did you just write down names and not categories?
Perhaps. I wrote down actor, then I wrote down actress.
What do you mean actor? Actor in what?
Okay, let me give you one that you picked.
I need you to speak into the microphone.
If I give you one that you picked...
Push that microphone up and talk into it. There we go.
If I give you one that you picked, will that help the category?
No. Deb, all of these are actors and actresses who may or may not have been nominated multiple times in multiple categories.
Hugh Grant.
What about him?
It would have been for a drama. It would have been that show with Nicole Kidman.
When you were doing this, did you just think, I'm going to write down names with zero accountability?
Here's what... Oh, wait a minute. I took notes with no...
It doesn't mean anything if you don't know what they're in relation to.
Here's what I thought. I thought you were reading from a well-organized list. We would just go back to that well-organized list and read them off in the order that you asked.
You thought I was going to hold on to an internet article for a month
I held on to this for a month.
Well, of course you did. You wrote it down. We needed that. Just like if you would have said best actor in a drama.
Okay. I mean, I have lots of notes on here. I have Top Chef on here.
Those aren't notes. Those are the people we picked without knowing the category.
If you can tell me the category, I can tell you.
Great. Okay.
If you can tell me the category.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say the category, read the nominees.
Yeah. That'll be good.
What a horrible listening experience for our audience.
Okay.
Deborah.
Yes.
Next time.
What?
Write the category.
Next year, you mean?
No, because when the Oscars come up in February, we're going to need the categories.
Okay. Next time, I don't know, print off the list in the order.
I'm not printing off anything. Just write drama series.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the first category, drama series.
Okay, because all I have is actor and actress. I got nothing after that.
You didn't write down shows?
I wrote down. No, I did. So I wrote down like example for Hugh Grant. I wrote down.
I'm not on Hugh Grant. I'm on a drama series.
I'm just saying. I wrote down the people that were nominated, not the shows. So I wrote down, I don't know, Lin-Manuel, Ewan.
Why would you have written down the nominees? We were just picking the winners.
I was trying. I don't know. This is what happens when it's not well thought out ahead of time.
This is what happens when you let Deb play jazz. Deb plays jazz in the moment in her head and it makes sense. And then you're like, you're good, Deb. And she's like, Kev, I am so good. And then you come back to the homework assignment and she doesn't even know what the assignment was for.
Well, first of all, everybody needs to know this.
What's that?
I don't know what we're talking about before we sit down here. So it's all spontaneous for me.
Okay, and?
You didn't go into the details of the notes you wanted me to take.
I just assumed that anybody who needed it as a reference later would put the categories that we are talking about.
I have the answers.
That doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, here we go.
You asked the question.
Here's the best shot in the dark. We'll try to line them all up.
All right.
This is going to become a disaster when we get to the actors and actresses. Drama series. The Boys, Bridgerton, The Crown, Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country, The Mandalorian, Pose, and This Is Us. Is there anything on your ridiculous notes that says who the winner might have been from that list?
Could you read it a little bit slower one more time?
The Boys. What, Deb? It should just be a name.
I know. One more time. Go.
This is going to be a 2.5 hour podcast just on the cold open. The Boys, Bridgerton, The Crown, The Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country, The Mandalorian, Pose, This Is Us.
Yeah. You picked The Crown.
Okay.
And I picked Handmaid's Tale.
You quit bobbing and weaving on the microphone. Just look right at me.
Let me hold it out here. You picked The Crown.
Yep.
And I picked Handmaid's Tale. Now, here's what you need to know.
I have the winner. Do you want the winner?
But that was the last category you
Okay,
asked.
that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a completely different website.
Okay.
The winner, The Crown. Check one for Kevin.
One for Kev.
I need you to keep a tally mark of the winners and losers,
Over here.
just so that we know who
one for
watches
Kev.
the most television.
Okay, go.
Comedy series: Blackish, Cobra Kai, Emily in Paris, Hacks, The Flight Attendant, The Kaminsky Method, Pen 15, Ted Lasso. Does that check out with something?
Yep, we both picked Ted Lasso.
That is correct. That is the winner.
Okay.
Limited series: I May Destroy You, Mayor of Easttown, The Queen's Gambit, The Underground Railroad, WandaVision.
I picked Mayor and you picked Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. Oh. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm so smart. TV movie: Uncle Frank, Sylvia's Love, Oslo, Robin Roberts Presents Malia, Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square. I'm pretty sure we don't have this.
We didn't do that one.
Well, it was Dolly. Congrats, Dolly.
Okay.
Lead actress in a drama series.
Okay.
Uzo Aduba, In Treatment, Olivia Colman, The Crown, Emma Corrin, The Crown, Elizabeth Moss, Handmaid's Tale, MJ Rodriguez, Pose, Journey Smollett, Lovecraft Country, Olivia Colman, the winner.
I picked Olivia Colman and you picked Emma Corrin.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Lead actor in a drama series: Sterling K. Brown, This Is Us, Jonathan Majors, Lovecraft Country, Josh O'Connor, The Crown, Roger Jean Page, Bridgerton, Billy Porter, Pose, Matthew Reese, Perry Mason, Josh O'Connor, The Crown.
You won, Josh O'Connor.
Lead actress in a comedy series: A.D. Bryant, Shrill, Kaylee Cuoco, The Flight Attendant, Allison Janney, Mom, Tracy Ellis Ross, Blackish, Jean Smart, Hacks.
We both picked.
Jean Smart, Hacks.
And who won?
Jean Smart, Hacks.
Yay.
Lead actor in a comedy series: Anthony Anderson, Blackish, Michael Douglas, The Kaminsky Method, William H. Macy, Shameless, Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso, Kenan Thompson, Kenan.
We both picked Sudeikis.
Winner.
Yay.
Lead actress in a limited series or TV movie: Michaela Cole, I May Destroy You, Cynthia Erivo, Genius, Aretha, Elizabeth Olsen, WandaVision, Anya Taylor-Joy, The Queen's Gambit, Kate Winslet, Mayor of Easttown.
Oh, we both picked Anna Taylor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that was dumb. Yeah. That was really stupid on my part. Lead actor in a limited series or TV movie: Paul Bettany, WandaVision, Hugh Grant, The Undoing, Ewan McGregor, Halston, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Hamilton, Leslie Odom Jr., Hamilton. I think we both picked Hugh Grant.
We did.
It was Ewan McGregor.
Oh, no. Hugh Grant was so good.
Yeah,
okay.
That was tough.
Kevin, you won by one.
Is that all the categories?
That's all. Oh, no.
Yeah, there's definitely more.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Supporting actress in a drama series: Gillian Anderson, The Crown, Helena Bonham Carter, The Crown, Emerald Fennell, The Crown, Anne Dowd, The Handmaid's Tale, Yvonne Stravosky, The Handmaid's Tale, Samira Wiley, The Handmaid's Tale, Madeline Brewer, The Handmaid's Tale, Anjanu Ellis, Lovecraft Country. Do we have that one?
I don't have that one. I don't remember you reading that many from The Handmaid's Tale.
What about... Read me what you have left that we haven't gone over in this now just completely dysfunctional cold open.
I think like Top Chef and Nailed It.
Oh, for comedies?
Yeah. And then the drama series for the best show, probably. I'm looking at these things, thinking they're drama series, maybe.
Drama series. Why don't I see drama series is in here?
Or maybe just best show.
Well, drama series was The Crown, which we went over.
Okay.
Comedy series was Ted Lasso, which we went over.
Then that's not it. Then what category would Top Chef and Nailed It be in?
Reality?
Yep. Maybe
reality TV show Emmy winners. Is that the last ones that we have?
Yep.
Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Competition Program. Does that sound right?
If Nailed It and Top Chef are in it.
That was RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, we both lost that too.
Yeah. So what did I win now with that shaky voice of yours, ready to cry because I just dominated you?
You won by 1.
What was the final score?
Oh, look at you. The final score would have been 5-4.
Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. Sitting directly in front of me is the Blythe Danner of this podcast. It's my mom, Deb.
I'm Deb.
And with my goop in my hand, that makes me Gwyneth. I'm her son, Kev. And this is our podcast. On your belief that I always get the good characters and you get the bad ones, is Blythe better than Gwyneth in your mind or vice versa?
1,000,000 times better than Gwyneth.
I know who Blythe Danner is. I've seen her in movies like Meet the Parents. I had no earthly idea what her name was, and I had no earthly idea that she was Gwyneth Paltrow's mother.
Go back to, there's a Blythe Danner, Nick actor that's completely falling apart and older.
Nickelodeon.
No.
Nicolas Cage.
No, older. Heavy set now.
Nick Van Dyke.
Drank way too much. Nick.
Yeah.
Really good looking.
Oh, Nick Jonas. Nick Jonas.
When he was young.
Nick Jonas.
This Nick is way older than me, I think.
Oh, okay. Nicky Martin.
No, Nicky.
Nicki Minaj.
Nick, he was blonde. He was good looking. Beach something.
Yep.
Beach. It was a very serious with Barbara Streisand. She was the shrink.
Nick at Night, the TV show?
No. Like the last thing I saw him in.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking. Nick Jagger from the Rolling Stones.
Wrong Nick.
Got
this
it.
Nick is heavier. He almost looks like the last couple things I've seen him in. It feels like they're almost propping him up. Like he can hardly walk.
Got it.
Nicholas. Is it Nicholas? Nope, it's Nick. Nick. Come on.
The TV show Nick, K-N-I-C-K. Oh,
no,
my bad. It's the New York Knickerbockers who you're thinking of. The basketball team.
Kevin, stop.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. That's it. So there was like some kind of South Carolina show with a younger Nick Nolte and Blythe Danner. Mm-hmm. And she was thinking about leaving him and they had 3 daughters. I mean, like the whole perfect thing. She was amazing in that, whatever that was.
Awesome. On today's show, in the business segment, Deb is going to pose a question. When everyone's getting along and everyone's being nice, what then seems to be the problem? I don't know. It's Great British Bake Off time, folks. We'll recap this week's episode and tell you who we are cheering for. If we have time, we will also get to Survivor. And like an authentic Euro, we'll wrap this episode up by telling you what we're thankful for and what's for dinner. But first, Deborah, are you excited for today? Today's a 1-year anniversary of something that changed your life forever.
What's the date today?
It's technically September 25th. Changed your life. You were obsessed with it a year ago. Where were you obsessed with it? You and pretty much everybody else. It was a movement. Everybody did it. Everybody did it. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. You couldn't stop talking about it. It was one of the very first things you picked for Good Job Internet. I think it was a completely different segment back then. You were obsessed with it and the person who made it. 1-year anniversary today.
I don't know.
How quickly she forgets.
Yeah, I have like a 14-second memory, okay? So
as you get older, I think they just call it dementia.
Okay, there you go.
1 year ago to the day.
Yeah.
To the day.
I'm looking at you waiting.
Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, dog guy.
DoggFace.
Yeah, DoggFace.
DoggFace. Riding his skateboard,
God.
Drinking his cranberry juice.
How could I forget DoggFace so easily?
Listening to Fleetwood Mac.
So what do you think DoggFace got this year?
DoggFace got lots of money this year. A lot of money. He got a house. He got cars. He got internet fame. I think he's over like 4 million viewers on TikTok. So he gets incentivized every time he makes a TikTok. That dude's year was better than anybody else's year.
He probably also is like wishing you happy birthday on Cameo, right? I mean, doing things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
He took the world by storm. TikTok's very first commercials had him in it.
Yep.
He was literally everywhere one person could be. And the thing that makes me so happy, you never heard anything bad about him. I think he probably put out all of his garbage right out front and said, this is who I am. I made a friggin' video. This does not in any way mean that I'm a good person or I'm a bad person. This is just who I am. The world rallied around him. And a year ago, here we are talking about him 365 days later.
Probably drank more cranberry juice than we had for a while because we were so happy with
it's a natural diuretic.
Right. Exactly. Cranberry juice cocktail people.
Shout out DoggFace. Happy
Ocean
1 year
spray.
anniversary, buddy.
Ocean Spray. There you go. There's a freebie for you.
For who?
Ocean Spray. I just did a
You
shout
think
out.
Ocean Spray needs a freebie from us?
No, what I'm saying.
We need to sell out, Deb, not give out. We need to sell out.
Ocean Spray really, really won with the DoggFace thing.
I would say that the DoggFace really, really won. The guy was living in a trailer.
Let's be honest. Fleetwood Mac won too.
Let's be honest. Deb really won.
Deb really won. It made me happy for a long time, but obviously not for a full year because I forgot about him.
No, that's extremely true. Clearly not as much as it meant something to me as I actually put it down in my calendar as a reminder.
I love that.
Deb, speaking of TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you know what a delicious lick is?
Yes.
Go.
No,
Hit us with it.
I don't know what it is.
Oh.
But I've seen it on TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the words.
Yeah.
And I think I've just chosen to not know.
So
I don't think I do want to know in front of you and the listening audience.
No. Do you think I would bring something up like that if I wasn't willing to at least talk about it?
Okay, let's just guess. In the world of Deb guessing with urban language.
Okay.
Delicious.
Use it in a sentence.
Delicious?
Let's just do a quick impromptu. We haven't done this in a while. Deb, use delicious lick in a sentence.
Okay. So I'm out to dinner with one of my really good friends.
Got it.
And it's a fun restaurant. Good food, but fun.
Do not go literal. Nothing that is ever posed to you in use it in a sentence is literal.
I'm not going to go literal. And I mean, it was just a good time. And it was one of those kind of nights where, oh my gosh, there was this incredible cocktail they did with lavender syrup and vanilla vodka. I remember that. It was so good. The food was fun and good. The waiter was on our energy level every step of the way, interacted, having fun, paid the bill, said hi to a couple people on the way out just because you had kind of met, during. It was terrific. We walked out, we're on the street, arm in arm, walking to get an Uber. And I said, man, was that a delicious lick?
Nope.
Okay.
To be fair, I had went full blown boomer here, and I said delicious when I meant devious lick. It's a devious lick. Do you want to? You can redo that sentence. I know that the changing of that adjective.
No, devious makes a huge difference, Kev.
Run it back.
No.
Run it back. Do your devious lick.
Okay, devious lick.
And again, don't use it in a literal sentence. Like you would have said delicious lick after you had a beverage or had food. Literally nothing to do with any of those things. But now apply devious lick to it.
Okay. A devious lick is when I attempt to influence you, but not straightforward, kind of in a roundabout way. I'm trying to influence your thinking by being tricky.
Students across the U.S. are being arrested because of their hijinks committed as part of the devious licks trend involving stealing or vandalizing school property. Police across the U.S. have begun arresting and charging students after reports of vandalism and theft. And the thing that I love is when some viral sensation that you think really only happens in your phone, that you'll never actually be exposed to, meets the real world. And a week ago, there is an article in the Reno Gazette Journal about Washoe County School District saying it will prosecute vandals after stealing TikTok challenge hits Reno schools. At least 4 Washoe County schools have been vandalized by students in what district officials think is linked to the TikTok challenge devious licks. And here's what's funny about it. Of course, stealing's not funny. And of course, vandalism is in no way funny. But the things these kids steal is what makes it outrageous. It's like a full-blown science microscope that they take home in the packaging.
But it's also things like, so I did know what it was, but I forgot because now I've seen it. It was also things like they ripped the soap dispenser off the wall with the wall.
They took urinal cakes and everything out of
They took a tampon holder. And then the thing that was the thrill was, oh my God, now I can get free tampons out of the tampon holder I stole. So I'm like, leave the tampon holder and take the tampons and consider it a win, right?
It's of course ridiculous. And this podcast is in no way encouraging people to vandalize their schools, but it's so outrageous. And of course, it's like somebody just said something at some point in time on a video, and they probably took, I don't know, a teacher's pen that nobody ever knew was missing. And then the ante just kept getting upped further and further and further till you're seeing people bring those like old school projectors home that literally nobody uses anymore, but it's just sitting in their living room and they turn it on and it works.
And they either manage to walk out with it in the light of day or put it in their backpack.
That's probably my biggest question is, what are teachers and faculty completely oblivious to when kids are walking out with like microscopes and tampon, what do they call those?
The tampon
holders.
Yep.
Or like there was people just ripping off faucet heads. Like, who is watching this and not saying anything?
I don't know how anybody doesn't hear the tampon holder being ripped off the wall. Because that thing is like bolted down. I mean, you can pound on those things when the tampon doesn't fall out. Nothing happens. But I will say this.
Yeah.
How times have changed.
Sure.
When I was in college, we had in the basement of our dorm.
You guys were just fighting to get tampons in the bathroom.
Exactly. We had there was a soda machine and there was a candy bar machine.
Okay.
Now, I don't even have a recollection of how the soda machine worked. The candy machine, I have very clear recollection. It was
you put in money and the candy came out?
Nope. You put in money, showed all the bars, but you had to pull this lever. It was kind of heavy.
Yeah. I remember those, yeah.
And then it would fall from somewhere and you'd reach down and get it. So one time, now I don't know, it clearly wasn't just me that discovered it, or it was me that discovered it and then the news traveled. Okay?
Bad seed Deb.
So one time, those were the days where if you had 2 quarters for a candy bar, you didn't have 2 more quarters and 2 more quarters and 2 more quarters, where today kids, I think, have more disposable income.
And you had to walk uphill both ways to school.
Exactly. Thank you. So my candy bar didn't come out. And it was like 10 o'clock at night and I was studying and I wanted
What were you doing at high school at 10 o'clock at
college.
night? Oh, college.
And so I hit like 1, 2, 3 on the glass to see if it would shake out. Nice. And it did. Okay.
The one candy bar?
The one candy bar that I bought. I don't know why. But I hit 1, 2, 3 again.
Just to see.
Another candy bar fell out.
Okay.
1, 2, 3 was the magic thing.
Every time you hit it 3 times?
You had to pull. This is what we figured out. Because then there became a we.
You're like, get over here, there's free candy.
Because you don't want a Butterfinger every single time. Sometimes you want a Hershey Almonds.
Yeah, Bart Simpson might disagree, but I get what you're saying.
Pieces,
sure.
Right? Or not Reese's Pieces, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. So you had to pull it out, even if you didn't put money in. Somehow the pulling it out did something, and then 1, 2, 3, out would pop the candy.
So you pull it out, which means it's open to fall. So maybe the 1, 2, 3 starts jarring everything a little bit forward.
Possibly, clearly something wrong with the machine, which was not my fault. However,
you were just exposing the glaring issue with the machine.
Word quickly spread.
Some others might call that theft.
Word quickly spread. And apparently I wasn't the only one that did it, because there were candy bars on there I didn't even like.
Yeah.
So
you're looking at everybody going like, in 40 years, this is going to be a TikTok trend.
We get called for a all-dorm meeting.
At college?
At college.
Oh, you went to a smaller school. That makes sense.
With the resident director.
Yeah.
Who says somebody's been stealing candy out of the machine.
Well, you're like, technically, I'm just knocking on the glass.
I'm just knocking on the glass and the candy falls out. It wants me to have it, right?
It's really more of the candy's decision than anything.
So the candy guy came and, of course, probably knows that if
this is
empty, then I should have this much money in the little coin.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
The coin thing's apparently empty and all the candy's gone.
Fair.
But I do want to say there was no vandalism involved.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody pried their way into the machine. So at this point, he's probably thinking, how could this have possibly happened?
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Well, we all just sat there silent. Nobody confessed, of course.
Chocolate rings around everybody's mouths.
And, he said, they're going to be repairing this. I'm really disappointed in you. We all did. I mean, to this day, I feel a little bit bad. I mean, not.
Well, you did steal,
not
Deb.
like go to hell bad, but I felt like it was a code and I cracked the code when I didn't even really know there was a code.
That's fair.
I mean, so
that's what every burglar ever has said.
Shouldn't I be proud of that?
The burglar's like, Your Honor, there was a code.
There was a code
to get into the building.
Yep.
I cracked it.
Yep.
Thus, all possessions inside the building are now mine.
Yep. Yeah, that's how I felt.
You were a cat burglar. Really aggressive cat burglar with no machinery whatsoever, just your fists
but just remember,
and a cunning personality.
It was 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, who would have known? Deb, 40 years prior to the Devious Licks Challenge, was actually deviously licking candy bars and then telling everybody else about them.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the weirdest podcast. This is the weirdest podcast we've ever done. I love it. Easy segue. Let's go from stealing candy to everything being okay in the workplace, but really not. Deb, talk to us about this topic that you sent me this morning, which I'm excited to see where you go because I don't even know where this topic is going to go. When it appears that everybody's happy, when it appears that everybody's working together, but you're still finding some issue, what do you do?
So here's something that just came up with a business that I was working with.
Okay.
I would say that this business is full of unicorns. I mean, I think the owners have done an exceptional job of hiring wonderfully unique people who just go above and beyond in every situation for their customers and for each other and for the owners. This is a team in the biggest and best sense of the word.
We call it a stable of unis.
A stable of unis, exactly.
I just came up with that. Thank you.
So I'm in there for a week this week, and I'm telling you, because I often go in and interview every single person and stuff, and there is this trend, this thing that's happening. So I'm going to say...
Are they stealing equipment and posting it on TikTok?
They are not, okay? They're working hard, and they're growing. So it is fair to say their plates are full, right? Their plates are really full. But one of the things, and this probably falls under communication, one of the things that was happening and was making everybody, I'm going to say, equally miserable, but not knowing what to do about it.
Yep.
Because they all knew each other. And when a team gets along like that, they might go for drinks together. They might see each other on the weekends. I mean, and this is a smaller town where this business is located. So it's really easy to, trip over each other kind of all the time. And you just know what's going on in each other's life because let's be honest, if we don't like our coworkers, we don't share. If we do like our coworkers, we share, right? So there is a familiarity too. I'm going to say a personal familiarity, even if they don't hang out on the weekends. Person after person, when I talk to them, would say things like, we're really busy. I mean, I think we have too much. Which is kind of normal when they're in a growth spurt like this. We might have heard I'm overwhelmed. However, this is what it was. And everybody cared about everybody else in the most sincere way. I want to talk to so-and-so about this, which under normal circumstances they could do.
Yeah.
But I'm so worried about what's on his or her plate. And then it sounds like this. I know she's buying a new house and she's in the middle of all this change. I know this one over here is pregnant. We only have a couple months before she goes on maternity leave. I know, do you see what I mean? Like we know these personal things. We take them, we assimilate them in our brain for all the business things. We then feel the burden of their life or what they're going through. Though I would say all these people have really good lives. None of the news was really bad news. Buying a new house is great news. Having a baby is great news. Though that's a lot of change, right?
Correct.
I didn't say something because I don't want to burden him or her more.
I don't want to disrupt the apple cart.
I don't want to disrupt the apple cart. And I genuinely, I guess this is what it would be like now. People know that dad has cancer. My husband, your father, has cancer.
True.
There would be a lot of people, and I suspect this is happening, that don't come to us and require a lot of us right now because they know our plates are full with the work we do, and dad and everything else, right? People aren't asking us for a lot. You do that in that situation. But that's kind of what happened in this situation, right? But then everybody gets overloaded and frustrated. Things get a little cogged up. Communication isn't clear. We frame it because we frame it so delicately that we actually don't even get our point across in trying to not overburden them. Does that make sense?
Things are going so well and relationships are going so swimmingly that in and of itself causes a bit of an issue because nobody wants to be the person who may or may not start creating some waves.
So it goes like this. Let's just say for the sake of discussion, Susie comes in. Susie is on time all the time. Susie's that person that's a half an hour, 15 minutes early and has been ever since she arrived a couple of years ago. And Susie is great, and we love Susie.
We love her.
Susie, for some reason, unknown reason, this past week has been late, 10 or 15 minutes late every single day. Susie comes in and says, I'm so sorry I'm late, right? Because she's a really nice person.
Sure.
The first couple times it happens, because it's so highly unusual, people go, just innocently forgive it, don't even care, because Susie must be going through something. And then they start telling themselves a story. Well, Susie is under pressure because, right? The story, and this is the key line, and people, please start using this verbiage in your own life. The story I'm telling myself is that I'm not going to get mad at Susie for being late on Monday and Tuesday because, number one, we're swamped here. And number two, I know Susie has her personal life is kind of full and busy right now. Okay. But by the time it gets to Friday, now I'm not saying the story I'm now telling myself is, what the hell, Susie? Can you not get to work on time? And I know you've been way early for 2 years. And I know that I really appreciate that and admire that and love it. And honestly, I'm giving you credit for it. But when do we talk about this? Because now it's becoming a burden. Okay. Now, it may be that the bosses don't even know Susie's late, right? They're unaware because maybe where they're situated, where they are, what they're doing. But the people that know it are saying things like, gosh, it's been really busy in the morning. I opened the doors at 8 a.m. and whew, we're slammed. They're not really saying to Susie, this is what they should say. Susie, you're late every single day this week. No big deal in the beginning. Now it's creating a bit of a burden. I'm going to tell you why. We've had people waiting at the door. I unlock it. We're swamped. We need you here. Susie, is something going on that I can help you with so you can be here on time? Here's how it goes. Susie either says, it's private and I'd rather not discuss it. At which point we say, Susie, we need you to be here on time. Or Susie tells you the thing, and if you really can assist in any way, then you help, but you still say, Susie, I need you here on time.
Fair enough.
That's candid conversation is sometimes really difficult when we really care and like and are beautifully enmeshed with the people that we work with. We actually, out of the kindness of our heart, run away from doing the exact right thing because the stories we tell ourselves about whatever is happening, we build in excuses for the other people.
Well, and isn't this just kind of an exercise in cutting it off before there's a real issue? Meaning, okay, so this person's doing something they don't normally do. You give them the benefit of the doubt the first time, maybe even the second time. But on the third time, now you owe it to yourself and that person to go up to them and say, hey, we know you as this. This is now happening. Before this becomes a big issue, can we talk about it? Is there some one-offs? Fill us in because we're willing to give you some leeway here, but we need to know why we need to give you that leeway.
Kevin, I couldn't have prepped you better,
Thank you.
By the way, I didn't. I couldn't have prepped you better for a better question because that is also part of the thing that I think happens when people really like each other. I think we give each other too much rope and the benefit of the doubt for too long based on those stories we're telling ourselves about sometimes a thing we don't even know.
Sure.
Right? We're just filling it in. And so I don't say anything when it's small. When it's really hey, is something going on? You are the most on-time person in the world and you've been late the last couple of days. I don't care that you're late, but can I help? Right? I think that is like a no big deal conversation versus at the end of the week or the end of the second week or the end of the third week, whatever it might be, when we get brave enough, which means we're really frustrated enough, right?
Sure.
To finally say
But even then
something.
you should say something before the emotion is the catalyst for you saying something.
Kevin.
It's like we live together.
It's amazing. Continue.
Because what it is I 1,000%, and I think everybody can appreciate, like when things are good in a professional setting, you're waiting for the bottom to fall out if you're that conscious of it. And so the last thing you want to be is the reason for the bottom to fall out, which is ironic to me because in this situation, the person who's addressing Susie feels like they're going to be the reason the bottom falls out. That's not the case. Susie and her actions are the reason the bottom's going to fall out. So before the bottom is even close to falling out, you go up to her and you say, hey, why are you late? You're never late. What's going on? It's super duper casual, right?
Yep.
You've been working here for 3.5 years. I can count on one finger how many times you've been late. We got 2 in a row. I'm hoping to avoid 3. What can we do here?
And see that there wasn't a lot of emotion on that. It had a friendly tone to it. It was no big deal. It was kind of like, I can assist you, whatever it is. But when we let it go down the line, then it becomes, that's when we engage in our, and we've talked about this before, our big dramatic catastrophic language, right? That's when we're like, oh my God, she's never on time. Well, wait, she was early every day for 2 years, right? She never, and it becomes she never and he always, right? And so that's what we want to avoid. And we also want to avoid what I want to call is the group syndrome. If I'm working in the area of Susie and it's just one other person, I notice Susie's late. I'm her peer. We're friends. I should just say it to Susie. But if I let this thing go, I know myself well enough that I will have talked to Diane and Linda and Kathy and Robin and Joe and Mike and everybody else about it. We will have all ramped up a little bit. And now it's like a whole committee is going to dump on Susie.
Which
right?
is now the person who's trying to kind of source the information. Hey, am I being too much? Is this like, a little taboo that I bring this up? You're now cultivating dissent within the group by polling everybody who has nothing to do with anything. And if they really knew of the issue, because everything's so good, they should come to you and be like, hey, she's been late for 3 days. Here's exactly why. You should say something to her because she's going to feel 1,000 times better than it. But if you're going and trying to source all of this information about how you should handle it, you are, in theory, creating groups. Like, you guys are okay and she's not, and here's all the reasons why. So now you're creating this dissension amongst the workforce because now they're all saying to themselves, I wonder what's wrong with Susie. What's wrong with Susie? Have you talked to Susie? What's wrong with Susie? Is she going to get fired? She's not happy. All that kind of stuff.
Right,
Where if you just say, like, we all know she's late. We all know she's never been late. Call a spade. Talk to her. Address it. You've said it now. It's out in the ether. And if she continues to be late, now you have cause.
Susie, why are you late? It's just that simple. And what can we do so you're not, right?
Yeah.
Because you're right. Little factions form, or I'm going to say little opinions. Do you know what I mean? Group opinions, and which is unfair to Susie. That is unfair to Susie.
Yep.
Because then Susie's got a big hill to climb back to repair it if she can.
Big hill. And Lord knows if she's going uphill, she's going to be even more late.
And nobody wants the appearance of mean girl groups or mean guy groups. Mean girl is
nobody should want that. I think we all know enough people who do like that.
Who especially, I want to say, what did we start with? These are the greatest people, right? These at their core are the people that everybody wants.
Yeah.
So
you can't be killing unicorns. If you've seen Harry Potter, you can't kill a unicorn. It's bad news bears.
Yep.
Address it. I feel like if everybody has listened to this podcast long enough, I think the one thing you could take from every single thing Deb and I talk about, just have the conversation.
So
just have the conversation.
In my thank you today, I'm going to say just how bad this business segment is kicking me in the face. And we're going to have to rethink the business segment.
Why? This segment's kicking you in the face?
You wait for my thank you.
Oh, okay.
For my grateful.
I'm just saying, I think, and I think a lot of people would say, That's easier said than done, ironically.
Right.
But it's true. If
Yeah.
you're willing to sit and have a kind of emotionless conversation, your professional life exponentially better.
Yeah.
A thousand times. As a manager, it's better. As an employee, it's better if you can just say the words out loud to the person that they need to go to and not have any visceral anger, negative emotion behind it. Your life's going to be easier.
And well, you know that between you and I, if I do this thing with Kev, if I say, hey, I want to talk to you about something, or hey, you're doing something that kind of bugs me. Could we do? He just wants to come for me and kill me. If I say something like this, Kev, sponge, ring it out. You're like, fine.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, really, truly.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. And again, I guess you have to understand the individual, but for somebody like me, if you feels like you're going to make it a big deal, I might have a bigger response. And if you just say, can you shove the chair in?
Yeah.
Idiot. I'm like, okay,
that's my
fair
thing.
enough.
Shove the chair in. Yeah, for sure.
Deborah, we can do both, if not for the time, but do you want to do Great British Bake Off first and then see if we have time for Survivor?
Yeah.
Or do you want to try to knock them both in?
I'm just saying that Great British Bake Off is the most important as far as I'm concerned.
Clearly.
Okay.
Hands down.
Yeah.
So here's what we'll do. We will not put a cap on our time for Great British Bake Off. If we have time to address Survivor, we will. If not, we will start recapping Survivors on Thursday because they air on Wednesday.
Okay.
Got
and
it?
then it would just be a double catch up is all it would be, right?
Yeah. Then we'll just talk about the premiere and the second episode.
Perfect. Picture that chocolate cake with the raspberries on top.
I ended up watching the episode before you did because you were flying home.
Yeah.
I told you to download the episode. You did, just of the completely different season.
Wrong season.
Wrong season entirely. So I watched it first, believing you had watched it.
Yeah.
I picked you up and I said, who do you like? And you said, no clue. So I watched the first half of the premiere episode with you.
Yeah.
Here's my question.
Okay.
I don't remember how we did this last time, and Lord knows I'm not going to go listen to how we did it last time. I think we picked our 3 post first eviction.
Yeah.
So we're really picking a third of the contestants that we're going to side with. Like, I don't think we picked 3 and then had a vote. We picked the 3 that we liked initially.
Yeah.
And then we were able to switch if somebody got voted out. Here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
These are going to be the rules as we play them this time. We'll pick 3.
Okay.
So we're picking 3 of 9.
Right.
Because we're not counting the first eviction. We can't trade them now. We're on them. We're on them.
Okay.
We are on them. Okay.
So we have to stick with our people. And by the third week, I could have lost all mine.
Yep.
Okay.
You got to stick with them.
Okay.
Well, you're essentially picking a third of the contestants.
Well, I will say.
Not essentially. You are.
Our picks last season.
Yeah. Rock stars.
We were rock stars. Yeah. They were rock stars. These people are doing incredible things in their lives now as a result. And now I feel like nobody stood out quite like that to me. But what I want to do, Kev, I want to go through the crazy thoughts that are in my brain in the picking. Can we do that?
Let's just address the totality of it first, and then we'll get to the individual. Okay.
Right.
So they're back. Prue and Paul, even despite every rumor that they despise each other, are still judges.
Though she did pow him this week.
She smashed him pretty hard when he said, are they sticking to your dentures or something like that?
Oh,
and she smacked him across the chest where everybody was like, oh. And then Noel and Matt are back. And Matt seems to have a better understanding of this whole thing.
I actually felt this is very teeny weeny. And of course I could resend this next week.
Yeah.
I felt like Noel led it last year for Matt.
Yeah.
This year I feel like Matt is in there. Like Matt's right in there.
I think he just understands that he's the comic relief to an otherwise fairly benign British TV show.
I am going to say this, however, to all the Brits out there that listen to the Deb and Kev podcast.
All of you.
When you do weird American stuff at the beginning of the Great British Baking Show, it's very upsetting to me.
Let's start there.
Because you don't get it.
The hosts and the judges did a Billy Ray Cyrus rendition of Achy Breaky Heart with baking themed song. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
With mullets on.
They all had mullets, head to toe country paraphernalia, all playing instruments, clearly not well because they were just air instruments.
They didn't even bother to really learn the words.
No.
I mean, Noel did a pretty good job.
Well, yeah, he's like, he and Matt are actors.
But even Matt didn't do that good of a job.
Well, because Matt's probably like, I get that I'm a clown, but this is too much. So what I'm assuming is that Great British Bake Off caters to their home audience, and their home audience loves making fun of Americans. And we look at it and we're like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it was. It was so stupid.
Beyond shticky weird. Yeah, but that's what I want to say.
But hey, we're talking about it. 10 new contestants. Let me read off the contestants, and let me preface this by saying there wasn't a single one that I saw that I did not like.
Oh, no, this is a grand group.
Not a single one. We have Amanda, the 56-year-old woman who's a detective and swims in very murky water.
No. And when we say, if you haven't watched it, swims in murky water, it showed her swimming in something
full of lily pads, full of moss.
Exactly.
It's like where people dump their hedge clippings. That's what she was swimming in.
Exactly.
We have Chiggs, a sales manager. Very great smile.
Oh, best smile on. Hard to not pick Chiggs just because of his smile.
Great smile.
Yeah.
We have Christelle, 26-year-old client relations manager. Gorgeous. And do we think she's Indian? Do we know? Probably.
I mean, only because she kept saying the flavors of, do you mean she picked flavors?
Born in Northwest London to Kenyan-born Portuguese parents.
Oh, wow. Okay. She's gorgeous, but she also has a flair for exotic flavors. We figured that out right away.
19-year-old Freya. She's a student. She's got this weird little way of talking, kind of nicely.
There is an old woman living inside of 19-year-old Freya.
Yeah. Somebody who listens in England, I know there's a handful of you. Tell me what faff means. I don't want to look it up.
Oh, yeah. What does faff mean?
Faff. She said it's a bit faff.
So you can't. Here's the thing. I don't know if you're going to cheer for Freya, but you can't want her voted off right away.
No.
Because the entertainment.
And she's vegan. She's making it harder on herself.
And she's cooking vegan too. So that's a thing. Yeah.
Which I think is great. Then we have George, who is a 34-year-old shared lives co-coordinator. I think he works with people with disabilities.
Oh, okay.
Looks exactly like Rav. If you've watched Great British Bake Off before, looks exactly like Rav from previous seasons. We have Giuseppe. He's
great.
He's an engineer.
Yep.
Amazing.
Very Italian.
Totally.
Curly, longish hair.
Yep.
Just exuberant with life. Everything that you would expect from an Italian.
We have finance bro Gerzino. Which I kind of liked him just because it was Zeno and Zener.
Yeah.
Jürgen, 56-year-old IT professional from Germany. Jürgen.
Okay, so here's the thing about Jürgen.
Oh, I friggin' love Jürgen.
Jürgen is clearly from the get-go very talented, okay?
Yeah. He's very German.
He may have a freaking stroke before this is all over.
Yeah, he's German.
Or he's going to pull out an Uzi and kill everybody.
Yeah, he's German.
I'm not sure which one it is.
Then we have crazy orange hair Lizzie, who again, the accents on Lizzie and Freya.
Yeah.
I was on an ostrich and you're a bit nervous for me. And you're like, they're speaking English and they all understand each other. It's great.
And you have to appreciate her hair.
Then we have Prue's doppelganger Maggie, which will be the running joke for the entirety of the season as long as Mags is there.
Yeah.
We have Rashika, 27-year-old from Birmingham.
Oh, beautiful. Lovely.
And then we have Big Tooth Tom, who reminds me of Gary from Making the Cut.
Okay, so Big Tooth Tom.
Yeah.
If you don't love...
That's not his real name. His name's just Tom.
His name's Tom. But if you don't love Tom from the get-go, oh my gosh.
Of your initial thoughts, who were the people that you were drawn to? You see them, you're like, of course, I'm cheering for these three people. Let's hope one just doesn't get voted off.
Okay, here for sure. Number one for me, Christelle.
Okay.
Like, no question. And I'll place her in my number one spot. Okay. Here then is where my brain kind of loses it. I think Maggie is going to be a good baker.
Yep.
But I think we saw Maggie kind of wig herself out. Maggie's entertainment is good too. But Maggie, I think, is somehow comparing herself to Prue, and that's going to be her.
This is what happens with people Maggie's age on the show.
Yep.
They can do all the traditional stuff lights out. Absolute lights out.
Yep.
Nail it. When they get to the more modern contemporary stuff,
It's tough.
It's too abstract for them.
And it's just the reverse for everybody else.
Yep.
But it also puts everybody else in the same pod.
Yep.
So part of me wants to pick Maggie, but I'm not sure I can.
Okay.
Part of me wants to pick Freya just because I don't want her to leave.
Sure.
I mean, like that girl, first of all, she's cooking totally vegan. Let's remember that.
Yep.
And even Paul said a couple times, like, and this is vegan.
Yeah.
Like, this is good.
Yep.
So I kind of like that whole thing. I love her nervous Nelly, weird way she talks. And
She talks out of my nose at a bit of a bath.
And I love the way she dresses and she's funny.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know how I don't put Jürgen on my list.
Jürgen.
But of course, I'm worried that he's going to have a stroke or kill everybody.
No,
right?
he's German. He's Jürgen.
Also, too, when we see guys his age that start out strong, they fade under the pressure. They never last.
Okay.
So that's what I say about him. I adore Giovanni. And I don't know if he has... Giuseppe. I don't know if he has staying power. Is it Giuseppe or is it Giovanni?
It's Giuseppe.
Okay. I don't know if he has staying power. That's the thing. And then my last one is, okay, I really liked Tom. Obviously didn't pick him. Do you know what I mean? But I love Chig's smile.
Chig's great.
It's a thing. So Christelle for sure. I'm going to go, because I know where everybody else is going to go, so I'm going to go left. I'm going to go Christelle, Freya, and Giuseppe.
Okay.
I should go Jürgen. I know I should. I should go Maggie.
Here was my gut reaction for pretty much all the same reasons as you. Christelle, because I just want somebody to look at who's beautiful for all 10 episodes, and she happens to be a really great baker. Freya, because I love people who make it difficult on themselves without making a big issue. She's going to cook vegan, and she's going to live and die by cooking vegan, and I adore that.
Yeah.
I love Tom because his teeth are twice as big as his face, and he's totally goofable. You don't know if he's gay, if he's straight, or if he's just socially awkward. That's what I love about him. Jürgen, because I just want to hear him, his wife, and he and his kid all play instruments. They have a rabbit, Humphrey.
Yeah.
Is James Jürgen from the Black Forest? And he's like that. I mean, Matt sang the Flintstones theme song in German to him, and Jürgen could not have cared less. Was so stoic.
He didn't smile. He didn't do anything. And Paul turned it on Jürgen and said, judge your own Black Forest cake, which, I mean, that's a big deal.
Hold on, we'll get to all that stuff. And then Giuseppe, just because I love the idea of an Italian being in this kind of fairly highbrow, as it relates to reality TV show, cooking competition and being like, well, I'm just going to bring my Italian flair to this.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that. So who are you going to go with?
My first initial thoughts, obviously I'm choosing Christelle. Obviously I'm choosing Freya. But I thought I wanted to choose Tom, and I was like, I can't do Tom. I'm riding with Jürg.
Are you?
I'm riding so hard with Jürgen because I'm eventually going to nail his accent. The first competition was 12 decorative mini rolls. And I'm taking notes as I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, like, they're having them cook rolls, like from Texas Roadhouse. Not mini rolls, not dinner rolls. Like Swiss rolls. So we would Little Debbie Swiss rolls.
What's really typical here, the two things in America that I could compare it to is at Thanksgiving now in the fall, in the spirit of all things pumpkin spice, we do it's cooked like we call it a jelly roll, where it's cooked on a cookie sheet.
Also a dance.
Yep. And you roll it up you put some like buttercream. So it's pumpkin flavor, roll it up, put some buttercream and dust it with some powdered sugar. Or at Christmas, you do the same thing. It's often chocolate. You roll it up with some buttercream and it's a Yule log. Do you know what I mean? So that would be the American version of these, only they're saying mini, small.
So you got to make a big one and then cut them up into segments. And I would say this, I thought for sure we had already thinned the herd after that, because rolling that stuff up is so much more difficult than people give it credit for. Like, I look at it and I think to myself, I don't know how you can do that without breaking it. I don't know how you can do it when the cake is cooler, because then it's going to crumble. So then I'm thinking, like, you put the buttercream in there, but then it's going to melt, and you do all these things. And I thought for sure we had already seen who was going to be great. The people that killed it were Christelle, Jürgen, Chigs, Giuseppe, and Freya. I thought Giuseppe was going to get a handshake.
Oh,
his
he
looked
should have gotten
out of a French patisserie.
Yes. also too, those were the ones for the most part that actually had a swirl. Some of them didn't have a swirl at all. I mean, it was just, I don't know what it was. Interestingly enough, I have made those pumpkin rolls that way.
Oh, okay.
And
I've never had any.
Nobody did what I did. So I do, like in the cookie sheet or the jelly roll pan, some of them put way too much sponge in. I mean, just way too much batter. But it's easy to do it on a parchment paper. Mm-hmm. But then I take the whole thing. This is weird. I flip it onto a flour sack tea towel.
Okay.
So the outside is the top, that nice part.
Got it.
And then I peel off the parchment paper.
Right.
Now it has to be just right. I'll tell you, it can't be ice cold. It'll crack. But it has to be just right kind of room temperature.
Just below warm.
Still pliable.
Yeah.
Right? But not warm enough to melt the buttercream or whatever's inside. It'll roll up so easy and so nice. If you've got that tea towel, they all had parchment paper, kept using parchment paper. And I thought that was a problem. Just saying.
And then the people that were at the bottom were George and Lizzie. I mean, Lizzie, she just looked exactly like she was going to fail that. She was so busy talking to Noel the entire time. She kind of forgot to put her stuff in the oven to bake.
Though I am going to say with Lizzie, I mean, it's really funny to see them, on the thing. So they weren't perfect. They were imperfect. Buttercream was oozing out. Caramel was oozing out. She did this kind of giraffe design, which actually turned out pretty cool. Yeah. And I'm looking at it going, I would have eaten one of those messes.
For sure. I mean, and she's just like, it's a bit of a kerfuffle, something whatever. She didn't care. And then Tom, I think, was on the bottom because it was a little haphazard. Yeah. That's what they said. So then the technical challenge was brought by Prue, and they had to make a malt loaf, which really just looked like a pound cake, fruit cake.
I will say that if I go to my death and never eat a malt loaf,
really,
I'm going to be fine.
I think it looked good, but it was just a pound cake, right?
Not for me.
Don't we just call those pound cakes?
I don't think it was anything like a pound cake. I think it was super heavy, malty, and dense.
What are they typically those rectangular things called pound cakes?
Like what we would call in a loaf quick bread pan.
Got it.
Yeah.
And when they cut it open, they only use dates, and obviously
dates and raisins. It was a combo.
A fruit cake has lots of fruit, but that's what it reminded me of, is a fruit cake pound cake.
And this had lots of fruit. Now, I'm not a big raisin eater. Everybody knows that. I do love prunes. I think prune in it would have been good. Mm-hmm. I think what I wouldn't have liked, I'm not a big malt person. Like,
I don't mind malt. Malt doesn't do anything for me. Not gluten-free though.
Yeah, I'm not a big malt person. And then there really was a trick in the stirring of this thing.
Well, yeah, because if you stir it too much, it will become glutinous, so then it'll be more bread. If you don't stir it enough, you get flour pockets, and nobody wants to eat bread and then bite into a flour pocket.
I think your description is good. It ends up being a dark batter. Yeah. And it's dark fruit laden. Yep. For sure. More fruit, I'm going to say, than dough. Just enough dough to hold it together. Yep. Yeah.
This was the first time on a technical challenge that I think every single person looked uniform. Yeah. Nobody's was like half baked. Yep. Nobody's hadn't risen. They had to candy some orange peels. Nobody had limp orange peels. Everybody's looked totally passable for being consumed.
And even the comments, because who was last in that one, Kev?
Tom, no, it was like, it was Chigs because it was doughy.
It was doughy. Even when they say doughy, I
have the list right here. It was Amanda, then Chigs, then Giuseppe, then Gerzino, then Christelle, then Rashika.
But that doughy, I mean, we've seen raw in there before.
For sure.
This was not raw.
No.
This was like a little bit, when something looks a little yeasty. Yep. That's kind of how it was. So even the worst was not bad.
No, so you kind of took the signature bake and you flip it upside down for the technical, and everybody that performed really well was kind of at the bottom, and everybody that didn't perform well was kind of at the top. So it was fairly even. And the reason I think it was pretty even in the technical is because they kept going back to the signature and referencing who was in trouble. Yeah. And they talked about Amanda, and they talked about Lizzie, and they talked about Tom. They didn't really talk about George, but nobody was mentioned from the technical, meaning I think they were all pretty good across the board.
At that point though, I mean, considering all the food, I felt like Amanda was in the most trouble, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
And so then for the showstopper, they had to make an anti-gravity illusion cake decorated in a way that conveyed a previous memory, which, well, that's one of my favorite things is when Great British Bake Off says, let your life kind of be the guide for what you're going to do. And they all just make stuff up. They're like, I was on a beach once in Florida, and it was meaningful to me. Like,
I saw two
Florida
dolphins.
beach?
I saw 2 dolphins eject themselves out of a wave.
Yeah. My dad had an apple tree. So here's an apple tree. You're like, okay.
I want to say that I think this was one of the most difficult first showstoppers for sure.
Yep.
Because they had, I mean, obviously they would have practiced at home for this, but it really required that they bring things with them to create the architecture to hold the cake.
And speaking of engineering, that's exactly what Jurgen did. I think he brought 50 pieces to install his anti-gravity cake, and it was flawless.
Wrenches and screws and things were, it was
absolutely
amazing.
flawless. The people who killed it, Christelle killed it with her
oh my God, hers
bouquet.
Was fabulous.
It's gorgeous. Well, you could put that anywhere and people would think it was amazing. They liked Freya's.
Freya's was great.
They liked Jurgen's, and they liked Giuseppe's aesthetically. They just didn't think it tasted as good as it could have.
Right.
And then the people that faltered were Jerzinho, because his was in no way anti-gravity, meaning it didn't look suspended. It didn't look like it shouldn't have been able to do what it was doing.
Right.
Because his buttercream was too liquidy, and then he tried to roll it, and it just kind of
his
oozed
whole cake
everywhere.
Was too liquidy. It was
and
terrible.
then he just made like this really rinky-dink cake. And then Tom went into it with a blueprint of a cake that in no way was anti-gravity.
So
it was just leaned a little to the left.
Tom did this, like if you can picture, if a cake, you know how we see cakes as mostly being symmetric, right?
Yep.
One on top of the other, the next one smaller, whatever. Tom just kind of shoved it all over to the side in the design.
It looked like somebody who didn't know how to bake putting together a real cake that an amateur baker tried to make.
But I still want to say, truth be told, Tom's turned out way better than
Jarzinho's.
Jarzinho. I mean,
Jarzinho.
Jarzinho.
Say it for me.
Jarzinho.
There you go.
Tom's was way better than that.
And it was edible. I don't think Jarzinho's was edible. That did not look good to me at all.
No.
So then it came down to the star baker being Jurgen with his massive bushy eyebrows. Biggest eyebrows you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah.
And they sent home Tom.
Which was a heartbreak.
I was totally surprised by that.
It should have been
Jarzinho.
Jarzinho, 100%. Jarzinho, I think probably, this is how I feel about like what he's capable of.
I'm pretty sure his name's Jarzeno, which is why it reminded me of Zener. But then I want to say Jarzinho so that it is Zener.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what we're going to call him.
Let's just call him Jarhead.
I feel like Jarhead has really... He's like me. He's got some pastries he can do well, but that's all he can do. And then somebody throws me into Great British Baking Show, and I'm crying my heart out because I've never even heard of that, let alone attempted to do it.
This is what you do. You're like, why did I think rolling up a cake was going to somehow be okay in this tent?
Exactly.
Why did I do this to myself?
Yeah.
So these are our ride or dies. We have 2 that are alike and 2 that are different. Because you have Giuseppe, who I clearly adore too. Yeah. But then his name is Jurgen, and he's the best. I love him.
I get your Jurgen all day long. I get your Jurgen, and he could be the winner for sure.
Jurgen. So here are the things that I absolutely adore about this show. I sit in a perpetual state of looking constipated when I watch the show because I'm just always cringing. I'm always just kind of like
nervous. Yeah.
And how is it that I can watch horror genre, I can watch suspense, I could watch action adventure, and the show that elicits the biggest emotional response from me is a freaking British baking show where I'm just like, hoping nothing falls. Hopefully everybody gets their bakes done.
So, little known fact, Kevin can get more excited about the British baking show.
Hardcore.
Kevin has cried over the British baking show.
I have shot up out of my seat when people haven't finished. I'm just like, what are we doing here?
It's like he's watching a game. A sporting event. It is, it is designed for you.
I adore it. And then the other thing is, they're in the bubble again. These people are not going home. They are all staying on site. Now, whether they do it for 10 weeks, which I think they did last time, and they're not doing it this time, Prue, because we keep closed captioning on when we watch the show, because sometimes people speak, and even though we know they're speaking English, it is totally indecipherable, said this is going to be a long 10 days.
They have referenced 10 days several times. Then you hear 10 weeks. So we don't really know what it is. I want to say this, though. If it is 10 days,
that's a lot of baking.
And that's a lot of baking, and they don't have that week in between
to
practice. Well, and the other part they don't have is that week to get to know each other. I mean, to bond, because one of the things we love is to see their little friendships form. Like, we clearly saw Lottie and Laura love each other very early on. Yep. And now if you follow either Lottie or Laura on Instagram, and you should, they're still friends. They're still baking together. They still support each other in a really beautiful way. I mean, you know, I'm just saying, we like to see the friendships.
10 days feels Herculean.
Yeah.
Like 10 days feels like if you win it, you genuinely deserve to win it, even though you only win a cake stand, but you genuinely deserve to win it, because that is 30 bakes.
Yeah. And maybe...
Is that 30 bakes? No, it's 24 bakes, because they don't go down to the final one.
Well,
still, it's a ton of baking.
It's a ton of baking, but maybe what Prue meant was just the 10 days of baking.
Yeah, fair.
She could have meant that.
I mean, so conversely, it's 10 days, which is insanely quick, or 10 weeks, which is a ton of time away from your family, which then I'm sure that they would say, we actually film every 5 days, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's back. We are super duper happy about it. We have locked in who we think will be the finalists and who will potentially win. Watch the show, pick the people that you like the most. If you want to ride with us, you're welcome on our bandwagons. If you go completely rogue and pick somebody else, we want to hear about that and why you decided to choose them.
I do think that people will have theirs. And so write them down, look at them. We're doing it week to week, but catch up, because we don't want to negatively or adversely in any way influence you.
Or just skip this part and then come back to it after you watch it.
There you go.
Easy peasy. Deborah, what are you thankful for this week? I have a thankful for this week. It may be the same as yours. It might be different. I don't know. But do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I think our thankfuls are probably different.
Okay, you go first.
I'll go first. So this week, I spent the entire week in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Little known fact, it's just the sweetest little town across the Ohio River from Ohio. I work with a audiology practice there, Audiology Services of West Virginia. And I want to say, for some reason for me, Parkersburg, West Virginia, the people that own the practice, doctors Carly and Michael Squires, and their staff. Now I'm going to go through their staff's name for a purpose.
Buckle up, everybody.
You ready? Allie, and we're interviewing a new Allie this week. Nicole.
Allie cubed. Nicole squared.
Kylie. Not Kaylee, not Carly, who I said before. Kylie.
Solo Kylie.
JC. And now we have somebody brand new to the game. Marina, not Marina. I think it's Marrena. Marina. So it is impossible in there to grab the names as fast as you're supposed to, talking about the right person.
What are you talking about? Half of them are only 2 names.
Well, I know, but then you have to say Allie E or Allie M.
That's
or
where
Allie
math
D.
is on your side. You just say Allie, and then whoever turns around, you just point them and say exactly.
I just started. Well, so here's what happened. The 2 Nicoles.
Yeah.
They would come in when we were in a conference room and ask one of the doctors something.
Yeah.
Like, I literally thought it was the same Nicole asking every question. And I said, so.
Because they look the exact same?
Well, this is what I said. I said, so one asks questions all the time and one never to ask any question. They go, no, they've both been coming back and forth. They have a very similar look. Similar look.
Wearing masks too.
And wearing masks. So I just call them the twins now. That's what they are to me.
Got it.
I mean, that's just how it is.
Twin Nicoles.
I want to say these guys make it really fun to work. They are incredible. They touch my heart. They give me faith in good business. Like, what a team, what a group. Had a great week, and I'm grateful that I got to spend it with them.
Usually I leave the shilling to Deb, and she did kind of just do that. But I'm going to carry that load today. I want to say a couple months ago, maybe even more than that, we talked to you about who our youngest listener to this podcast is. You met him.
I met him.
Met my guy, Cameron, in Parkersburg, West Virginia. You both hung out, gave me a phone call so that I could talk to him.
Yep.
Amazing kid.
Oh my God.
Amazing kid.
He's 12.
And he belongs to one of the alleys.
He belongs to one of the alleys. Allie M. He does belong to her. So I had said when I got in there, okay, I said, I mean, do I get to meet, Cameron?
Yeah.
And she goes, oh my gosh, he would love that.
A pseudo celebrity in our eyes.
Yeah, he's 12. We love him, right? So it was the end of Tuesday. I think, Tuesday. And I hear these kids' voices in this one office, and I go in, and there he is. And I go, Cameron, and we start talking, and I give him a hug, and I talk to his little brother Carter.
And he's got this little Southern twang. It's so great. I
mean, it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. As polite as can be. When I said let's FaceTime Kevin, he was so excited. He said something about because we were talking about I sound like me. Well, of course I sound. But to him that's a different thing.
Sure.
I wanted to say to Cameron, I am so not famous, baby. I am nobody, but I love this that we're making.
But let me go sign some stuff for you, buddy, so you can sell on eBay.
I love this. He had taken the note I'd written him, and he put it in his phone case, and he told me he was going to keep it forever. Now, we know that that's not going to happen.
You better, Cameron.
Because we know that Cameron is going to grow up and throw that thing away. But here's what I want to say.
Not my guy, Cam. Cam's going to hold on to that.
The fact that Cameron said that made my year. I mean, Allie's doing a good job raising a couple of good boys. And I'm telling you.
This is my thankful,
Cameron,
by the way. This is my thankful, by the way. Can I say my thankful, by the way?
I love you, Cam.
This is my thankful, by the way. So I'm FaceTiming with Cameron. And you both are standing. And I'm like, wait, how tall are you? And he's like 5'9". But you guys are the exact same height.
Yeah.
We have a picture of you two together. We'll post it on our Instagram. Exact same height. And I say, hey, Cameron, you started school, right? This year? He goes, yep. I said, how's everything going? And he said, that's good. I said, you get in trouble yet? You get sent to the principal? Just something I would ask anybody. I don't anticipate a yes. He goes, yeah, actually today. And I said, what'd you get sent to the principal for? And he says, well, I was in art class. And I wish I could truly convey how this is a story of my life.
Oh, this is a Kevin moment for sure.
An exact story of something that I would have done. He's in art class, and the art teacher says something about needing to do a test, something to have to do with the test. Now, we know in art classes, they're typically a little bit louder. Kids view it as a version of recess. So sounds can be a little more drowned out in an art class. So if the teacher's kind of walking around and her back's turned to you and she says something about a test, my guy Cameron says, did you say something about testicles?
Yeah.
Because he just wanted clarification.
That's all
I don't know what they're working on. Maybe they're sculpting.
Yes.
Maybe they're drawing.
Maybe David.
Maybe there's just a nude model in there, and she's wanting to draw their attention to the male's testicles.
Hopefully not in 6th grade.
I don't know this, but he needed clarification so as to ace the assignment.
Yeah.
Cameron, get out of here. Go to the principal's office. I mean,
Cameron asked, and Cameron was gone.
I morphed back into whatever 6th, 7th grade version of me, and I was like, that is 10 out of 10, something I would have done. Heard test. Are you talking about testicles? Get out of here. See you guys. Just pack up the bag.
On the other side.
Hope that Deb doesn't get called.
On the other side of the camera is Allie M.
Yeah.
Who is half laughing and half going, don't do this with him. Yeah. I'm going to
encourage the hell out of him.
I want to do this seriously. I don't want him going to the principal this early in the school year.
Yeah, I get that.
We kind of lost it.
Trust me, I'm pretty sure that my record was week 1. So he's doing okay. And again, Cam, here's the best thing you can do for yourself. Play it out. Come up with a reason exactly why you said what you said. Because if you can explain it, then you're going to put the adults on tilt, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that actually makes sense. And then that's just going to help you later on in life, and you'll be a great salesman because of it. Meeting Cameron, fantastic, even via FaceTime. Hopefully I get to meet him in person one day, but it was great. Love him to death. Shout out Cameron.
Darling. And the other part is, Cameron, I want to say, when you have your line ready to go as
Yeah.
to why or your question, deliver it without a smile, buddy. You gotta stay serious in that moment.
Keep that Southern twang, buddy, because everybody's
Yeah.
going to feel for you if you're talking from your heart, using a little bit of that Southernness.
And a yes sir and a yes ma'am will get you a long way.
Absolutely. Deborah, what is for dinner? Did you learn any West Virginia culinary secrets while you were back there?
No, but I had one of the best drinks I've ever had in my life.
Drinks?
Yes, at the hotel we were staying at.
Okay.
The Blennerhassett Hotel.
Blennerhassett.
I think it's Blennerhassett.
Is that like named from the island around there too?
Is there an island?
I think so.
I don't know, but it's a lovely hotel.
What was the drink?
They grow their own lavender, so they make a lavender simple syrup.
Love it.
So there's like, I don't know, a shot of that or whatever, a shot of I think it's equal parts that simple syrup.
Yep.
Fresh lemon juice.
Okay.
And there's a nice size rind in the drink.
Yep.
And vanilla vodka.
Oh, yum.
Give it a shake. Oh my God. The of course you get the lemon and the rosemary up front, and then the vanilla.
Didn't mention anything about rosemary. Is there rosemary in the
not
drink?
rosemary, lavender.
Got it.
You get the lavender and the lemon up front, and then the vanilla hits you at the back. It's good.
And then you feel like a classy drunk.
Then you feel really, 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 really good. But here I owe everybody an apology.
Oh.
And John Beebe is the only one that keeps track of this.
Oh yeah. Thank God I took photos.
So I've said
First time ever.
what?
First time ever we haven't come through
On the
on
real
what we
food.
said we were going to
Yeah,
cook.
because I said let's make.
Pho.
Yeah.
And I said, for sure you should.
And for sure I should, and for sure I didn't. And so then Kevin, it was the week of my birthday, said, okay, I'm going to post your birthday dinner because it was awesome and incredible.
Yep.
I'm going to make pho this week. It's
Okay.
going to happen. Okay.
Run it back.
So I'm going to commit, going to run it back.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Phenomenal. What else can I say? Fantastic.
Don't say anything more.
Great. Anything else, Deb?
No, I'm good.
We will talk about Survivor on Thursday. Anything else that happens, we'll talk about it then too.
Okay.
I love you to death.
I love you, baby.
Oh, wait a minute. Remember to like, rate, and review wherever you listen to this podcast. And you can watch this episode and well as just see our smiling faces on all of our social channels at Deb and Kev Pod and watch us ramble and talk and cough and do all this great stuff at our YouTube page at Deb and Kev Pod. Mom, I still love you to death.
I love you, baby.
We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter at Deb and Kev Pod.